Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for today's video. My name's David and I appreciate all of you being here. I'm going to talk about a sensitive topic for many and I think it needs to be discussed. I think there's just so much misinformation out there and I'm going to talk about borderline personality disorder and the damage that is caused by having relationships, the potential damage that can be caused by having relationships with, let's say, an unhealed borderline. Before I get started, I appreciate it for all of you to please consider subscribing to the channel down below. Vote up or down, comment, ask questions, share this video with someone else. Thank you very much. So, a lot of disclosure, a lot of things I want to get out of the way, and I have to do this every time only with borderline personality disorder. I want to be very clear that I'm going to talk about bad behaviors from people with borderline personality disorder, okay? And I may not be talking about you. And you may not. You may have borderline and you may want to tell me, David, this is all wrong. I'm not like this. And then if not, then I'm not talking about you. Okay, I'm going to discuss a disorder and I'm going to discuss the behaviors that a lot of people that have the disorder have. If it's not you, you don't need to tell me it's not you. You're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to go down there below and say, hey, David, I have borderline and I'm not like this at all. I encourage you, please. But if you're not like that, then I'm not talking about you. I'm going to talk about the people who do hurt others and damage others. Okay? Okay. Hope I was clear with that. So first I want to say that personality disorders don't hurt people. People hurt people. Period. Not the disorder. Disorder is a diagnosis. Better way for doctors to understand their patients. That's it. That's it. People hurt people. If you're borderline, you don't hurt people. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about borderlines today that hurt other people, that damage other people in relationships, okay? First, I want to say that people with borderline personality disorder tend to fail to understand how their behaviors affect others. And this, a lot of people get this, you know, a lot of people get this misunderstood with empathy. There's different forms of empathy. Narcissists could have some empathy, believe it or not. Borderlines have empathy. They fail to understand how their behaviors affect you. And evidently that's not empathy. Okay? I've known borderlines and I've known borderlines to have empathy. Okay? They're just so focused and concentrated on themselves, which is almost contradicting because they lack so much self-awareness. I'll get into that. So, what this is narcissistic abuse. Okay? You don't have to be a narcissist. You don't have to have narcissistic personality disorder to be abusive and to be narcissistic. Okay? So I often talk about parents in narcissistic abuse. And parents don't have to be bad people. It's just simply neglecting the needs of your child and putting the parent first instead of the child first. Or maybe not giving the child what they need and giving yourself what you need. Maybe parentifying the child, things like this, okay? Not allowing the child to be themselves. And so this is something very common with borderlines, narcissistic abuse. It's all about them. And like I said, this might be contradicting, and I hope I explain this to help you guys understand. The attention is on them, not you. Even if they don't want the attention on them. Even if they don't know who they are. Even if they refuse to talk about themselves. The attention is on them, not you. Because it's not about who you are or what they think of you. It's about their opinion of you. That's more important than you. Trust me. So, a lot of problems that borderlines have with their self before they enter a relationship. They have difficulty regulating emotion. Very impulsive behaviors. Could be work, relationships, moving, drugs, addictions, things like this, okay? Depression and anxiety are very common. Very common with people that have borderline. Anger. Anger is a big one. Anger. And anger can be shoved down there pretty far and not surface for a long time. Until very inappropriate moments. Inappropriate anger. Okay? Anger is not bad. That's what a lot of sick, toxic people like to do to you and say, you're so angry, you're so angry. I'm angry. You're making me angry. Yes, I am. Anger's not bad. We don't want to scare people when we express our anger. We don't want to be violent. We don't want to throw things, hit things, scream, yell, threaten around other people. At least do that by yourself. But they don't control their emotions very well. They do not regulate their emotions very well. They're very dependent on others to do that for them. And this is where it's a big problem. Angry outburst. How many of you have parents that have angry outbursts growing up? And you obviously couldn't do anything about it. You didn't tell them to stop. You didn't leave. Say, hey, I'm out of here. No. So to them, you accepted it. That's dependency. Parents that have angry outbursts in front of their children multiple times, they believe their children are accepting of them. That's the biggest problem with people that have borderline personality disorder. People accept me, please. Delusional perception. Their perception is very skewed. Very, very skewed, and this can cause obvious problems. Now, problems in relationships. These are where these self-personal problems surface in relationships, and it could take a while. You can detect maybe an unstable personality a little bit, and they'll have a story. Just got out of a bad, relationship, and parents just did this to me, my boss, and my doctor. And you're like, oh, well, that makes sense that you're like this right now. Then you save them, and you take them out of all this stuff, right? And you take care of them, and then you're starting to have fun with them. But they have problems. They have problems that won't go away. They have problems that are going to cause damage and end and ruin this relationship because they're going to surface eventually. Just like narcissists. It could take 6 months, could take a year and a half for these problems to surface in a relationship, believe it or not, even with a borderline. They idealize and devalue. They're split. Nothing in the middle. You're either Republican or you're Democrat. What do you mean you're in the middle? You're a Trump lover. You're a Biden lover. Right? You believe in God or you don't? You don't? No, that can't be. Which religion are you? What do you mean you don't believe in God? No. Idealized value splitting can make you the biggest hero and the worst enemy by a light switch. Perception is skewed. I thought you were doing this. I thought you were gonna do this. I thought you meant. So that's why I did. I thought A, I thought you did this, so B, I did that, okay? And you're like, well, I didn't, I wasn't going to, I wasn't feeling that, I wasn't thinking that. Yeah, but always on guard. They're not independent emotionally. They are completely dependent on you. You regulate their emotions. I feel this, oh, it's okay. I'm scared, oh, no, don't worry, I'm not gonna. Oh, this person's hurting me. Oh, I'm gonna go tell them that, there's like a baby, like a child. They parentify you. They're not independent. They're totally dependent on you. It could be financially. It could be sexually, physically, emotionally. You name it. Completely dependent on you. Anyone's dated a borderline? Figure that out. You know right away. Should. And the most important part, which is the most important part to you guys, is your emotional needs will never be met in a relationship with a borderline. Cannot. And let's say unhealed. Okay? Cannot. Maybe the most important thing in your life is emotional security. A lot of you guys may not know that. A lot of you guys have been in relationships with multiple toxic people, maybe from childhood. So you may not know what your needs are, what you want, what you value, what your values are, how you feel, or what your opinion is. You may not know yourself truly. They don't, for sure. And if somebody doesn't know themselves, if somebody is impulsive, if somebody thinks you're doing something to them, you're going to leave them, that relationship is unstable. There is no emotional security. You don't feel secure. And they never feel secure, and they can't do that themselves. So they're dependent on you to reassure them every 5 seconds. Reassure me. Are you going to? You're not? You got a new job. You're going to leave me? Oh, who are you talking to? Do you love them more than me? And you're reassuring, no. And what you're doing is you're placing all attention on them and none on yourself. And that's just one example. I have more. Emotional attention. I feel like this. Somebody abused me. Somebody hurt me. I can't believe you're going to leave me. I'm so angry. Somebody just did this. How can your attention be on your emotions then? It's all on them. Make them feel better. Give them what they want. Give them what they need. Like a child. Emotional connection. Maybe the most vital, important recipe for a relationship to work. Let's start with emotional connection. They don't emotionally connect with people. They may never have since childhood, ever. When you're emotionally connected with somebody, you know who they are. You know how they feel. You know how they think. They don't, so how could you? But you try. You try to emotionally connect with them. You follow them around. You try to get them to understand you. You explain and defend and explain and defend, and it never works, and you don't get it, and you don't get why. It's because they refuse to emotionally connect with you. They have too much going on, and they've never done it, and they don't appreciate it. And I know a lot of borderlines are going to say, oh, I emotionally connect with people all the time. I emotionally connect with my dog. I emotionally connect with my mailman. No, you don't. Emotional autonomy. Self. Having your own autonomy in a relationship is absolutely impossible with someone suffering from borderline personality disorder. I'm using these words. Do you see? I'm being careful. Because a lot of borderlines like, nope, I connect with everybody. Nope, I offer security. I don't need security. Nope, I give attention. I don't need it. Nope, I give autonomy and pride. No, you don't. No, you don't. You think you do, but you don't. You probably don't even know what it is. Autonomy. You can't have your own autonomy if you're being parentified. Try to have a child, right? Have a baby. Newborn baby is the least amount of time a mother has autonomy, right? Mothers, right? Not much to yourself right after childbirth, right? I mean, doctor visits, nursing, can't sleep. I've helped take care of children. Not easy. Privacy, emotional privacy. Good luck with that one. Because the more private you are with your borderline partner, the more you are being deceiving. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You're going to leave me. You're going to deceive me. You're hurting me. You're abusing me. That's just 5 emotional needs. There's 5 more, like friends and groups and stuff like that they don't like. They don't like. You're cheating on me. You're going to leave me. They're better than me. You love them more than me. Reassure me you don't. And the only way you're going to reassure a borderline that you don't want any women is don't ever look at one. Borderlines live in victimhood. Most likely borderlines have been victimized. But guess what? All of us have. Every single human being on this planet has been victimized. Okay? And we choose when to not be a victim anymore. And I don't care if someone stopped hurting you 20 years ago. You could still be a victim. It's up to you. I've seen it. Most borderlines are victims. And they'll tell you what happened to them. So if they're, it's just like, can you take someone who's been beaten and abused and neglected and tortured for years in a basement, and the day they escape, can you date them? No, not yet, at least. So can you date a victim? No. You guys have been hurt and victimized and abused and all this stuff, suffering, depressed, maybe suicidal. Would you be a good candidate to date someone that day, to start a new relationship? No. They aren't either. They're victims. And if you're in victimhood and they tell you about their ex-husband and their ex-wife that cheated on them and hurt them and their doctor and this and that, they're a victim. They aren't ready to date yet. Period. But if you take this, someone living in victimhood, someone with paranoid ideation and fears that you're doing something to me, with a skewed perception that's false reality, with an unstable personality that's not consistent, that feels slighted all the time, that agrees in affect but doesn't inside, may not even know, cannot follow through with stuff and devalues you, guess what? They're a victim and you are the abuser. You're the abuser. You're the one cheating. You're the one lying. You're the one hitting me. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call your job. I'm going to call your family. I'm going to convince your friends. And I'm going to totally try to ruin your life because you, just like Hitler and every other sick F person in the world, you need to be stopped. How would you like to be married, have children, have contracts with someone who's convinced you're the worst person in the world? Not good. I talked about violence, intimate partner violence. So common amongst borderlines. And here's where I'm going to give you something. People say, oh, borderlines don't hurt people. Borderlines don't abuse people. Borderlines murder their children. And that's a stat you can look up as much as you want. Just go look in almost every prison, women's prison in this nation. They're in there. They're murderers. And the only diagnosis they have is borderline personality disorder. Just did a video recently on a murderer, Jody. Borderline. Many, many people in prison diagnosed with borderline personality disorder are murderers. Many, many people are in prison for attacking, in jails for attacking their partners. And there's many, many people falsely accused in prisons and in jails from borderlines for beating their partners and they didn't do it. And I know a lot. I know a ton of men. And by the way, in relationships, women are more violent. Men do have more violent streaks. Don't get me wrong. Totally. Men tend to be more physically violent. Women are more verbally violent. They'll ruin your life in words. But you can see the anger and the violence. No matter how far they pack it down, they might be just the quietest, calmest, coolest. Your mom is so cool and so sweet. And you're like, yeah, you should see her next Sunday. They idealize, devalue, they split, and that's their personality. Extreme. Awesome, horrible. Beautiful, ugly. Not consistent. Unstable personality. That's it for today, guys. I would love, always, please, I encourage you to give us your experiences, examples, explanations, things I like to hear, and other people really like to hear it, because really, we're just trying to validate our experiences and understand them. So I'm helping you guys understand it, and everybody else down in the comment section will validate it. Thank you, guys. Love yourself first. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.